We do know about the concern about rental prices in and around Cape Town. It's surged. Locals increasingly feeling that they're priced out of long-term housing because it's the short-term rental market, like the Airbnbs, the booking.coms that have been undergoing scrutiny with shrinking housing supply. But now the tourism minister, Patricia de Lille, has now openly acknowledged that unchecked short-term rental growth is, and I quote, hollowing out neighbourhoods and inflating rental prices. Currently, Cape Town has over 26,000 Airbnb listings. That's more than Barcelona. That's more than Berlin. That's more than Amsterdam. And by contrast, according to Property 24, there are fewer than 2,000 long-term rental listings. Studio apartments in the CBD saw nearly 30% year-on-year price increases in 2025. Joined now on the line by Jens Horber as a research and urban planner with Ndifuna Ukwazi. Good morning, Jens. Really appreciate your time. How significant is the tourism minister's admission when just last year, it was in November 2025, when Patricia de Lille says she didn't want to be big brother when it comes to the short-term rental market?
Hi, Lester. And good morning to all your listeners, and thanks for having me. Yes, it is quite significant because it seems like the growing kind of focus and interest on short-term rental and the impact it's having in Cape Town and in specific areas of Cape Town has become almost an issue that's impossible to avoid now. And we've seen the mayor come out and respond to those concerns recently also. I think it's actually it's high time that it's an issue that's addressed because there has been talk by the minister and the tourism ministry for at least the past 6 years to actually come out with either regulations or some kind of intervention to regulate short-term rental, and the city has only kind of in the last maybe eight months or so started speaking about it, and is currently working on a system to require all short-term listings to register with the city, and it's also speaking about charging commercial rates to Airbnb owners who own multiple properties and operate them as a full-time business. And I think it's important to kind of look at the details because in specific areas, as the minister has alluded to, like the city centre and the Atlantic seaboard, like Sea Point, there's high numbers of short-term rentals, and they're actually having in those areas a significant impact on the availability of long-term accommodation and are contributing to putting the rents up and incentivizing property development in the area to cater for short-term rental as a speculative investment. And areas like the Boerkaap are a prime example of where short-term rental has actually impacted not only the affordability of the area, but also kind of the cultural and social heritage. A lot of people in the area are being either pushed out or are kind of having issues with Airbnbs where people aren't respecting kind of the religious heritage and daily life of residents.
Jens, is this fundamentally a tourism problem or a housing policy problem, because whether it be national government or local government, quite reticent for enforceable regulations, but rather a code of good practice when it comes to the short-term rental industry. The argument from the city has been, it's not an issue around tourism. We need more tourists. It's an issue of housing supply, and we need to up supply in the city of Cape Town.
Yeah, so basically the minister, as she stated on the weekend, hasn't got the power necessarily to intervene in the housing market, and in terms of tourism regulations, it's more of providing a framework of what municipalities could do, but ultimately it is both a tourism problem, but it's more of a housing problem, and this is an element of the broader lack of affordable housing in Cape Town across the city, and especially in the city centre and Atlantic seaboard. And while the city has been releasing pieces of land for affordable housing, they've taken an extremely long time to do that. A lot of the sites that they are trumpeting about now have been in discussion about being released for at least the last 9 to 10 years, and a lot of the progress has only happened in the last few years, and a lot more has to be done, because obviously affordability is at an all-time low, and 75% of Capetonians earn under 22,000 Rand a month, and therefore I think we have to have a conversation about what affordability means also, because even a lot of the private sector developments that have been launched recently, and also trumpeted by the city, aren't really in that affordable range of up to 22,000 Rand a month in income, and they've been spoken about as though they are affordable. So affordability in terms of high rental prices in the city centre and surrounds is a relative number, yeah.
Jens, I know you're an urban planner, but I either invite you to join in or reject my political cynicism here. The Minister of Tourism is the leader of a party that is contesting a local government elections against a DA-led city. If I'm being jaundiced here, I could say, well, how politically expedient it would be for a tourism minister to call out housing, call out spatial inequality, if it will be politically expedient for her and her party, who have been open critics of the City of Cape Town's housing policy, when the Minister of Tourism would also have some significant clout when it comes to developing a policy around the proliferation of short-term rentals in the city?
I wouldn't really want to have an opinion specifically on what the motivations are. I would say that in terms of what the Department of Tourism is able to do, they are limited in actually intervening in local markets in Cape Town or Johannesburg or anywhere else. They are limited, as the minister said, to kind of a framework about what good practice should be. And ultimately, housing-related issues are a local government mandate, and ultimately it's up to the cities and the political will in those cities to kind of take the problem seriously. Affordable housing isn't only an issue in Cape Town; it's an issue in all cities, and I think there's definitely and there's been calls over a long period of time, over many years, from all sectors in terms of addressing the huge lack of affordable housing in Cape Town, and I think wherever the pressure is coming from, it's important to kind of for the city to respond to that. Obviously, it is an election year in terms of the local government elections, and housing is a politicized issue. And I think, therefore, I mean, if you want to read things into different announcements, you're welcome to do that.
Jens Horber, really appreciate your time and even taking a stab at that. Research and urban planner with Ndifuna Ukwazi.